Good evening or good morning and welcome back to the channel. This is Musically Me and you are here for another story time. So I know last week I gave an update and told you all that I did get my license, but I thought I would give you all an in-depth story of how I got my license and blah blah blah. So in my last story time, when I told you all I had failed my road test the first time, it was because of my parallel parking. Well, I worked on my parallel parking. Actually, I worked on it with a professor of all people. He used his own car and everything. And we went about twice a week for 2 weeks. Because that was when I was scheduled to retake my exam 2 weeks from when I had failed it. Yeah, so about twice a week, and we just did it over and over again. He went and bought some materials from Home Depot, yes. He went to Home Depot and got these 20 or 50 pound bags of sand, some brooms, and he set it up and he had me do that. And then we eventually went on to actually parallel parking between cars. But yes, I learned how to parallel park. Like I said, I had been working on parallel parking, which was my biggest thing. So I arrived to the DMV on a very, very rainy Monday. And I was actually in town for a conference, in my hometown for a conference. And I had these, they weren't open toe shoes, but they were the back of them were open. I'm sorry. And yeah, so it was just a big inconvenience. But I got to the DMV, get ready, and get my little card ready. And I drive up to the lane that they wanted me to be in, and that kind of made me nervous because it was the same lane that I was in the first time, and I'm like, oh my god. And I just started having flashbacks of my first time, and I'm just like, oh my god, just let me get it this time. So the guy gets in, he's like, do you have any questions, blah blah blah. I'm like, no, I just want to get it done. So we pull out, and yeah, so we make a right turn, and the first thing that's up is parallel parking. So I'm approaching the stop sign, and apparently I did not fully stop. I just kind of slowed down, and so I do that little maneuver, and he's like, okay, so this is my first and only warning. When you approach the stop sign, you stop fully. You do not slow down. That would be my only warning to you. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. But yeah, so that was my first reprimand. So we get up into this little, because the DMV that I went to, we didn't use the outside roads or whatever. They have their own road test area. So they basically had these barricades. There's one in front and one in the back of you to give you the impression of actually parallel parking. You don't actually parallel park between two real cars. They're just these little barricades. So he has me pull up, and immediately what I realized when I pull up is, oh my god, I'm too far out, because I want to say they said you want to have 2 to 3 inches between you and the car that you actually pull up beside. And yeah, I was way out. And so I was I asked him, I said, is there any way that I can redo this? Because yeah, I immediately recognized that I was too far out. And he was like, no, just do this, and then if you don't get in there, I'm going to give you a second try. So I'm like, okay, I don't know how this is going to work out, but okay. And I did it, and it was not It was nowhere near perfect. I got in there. I did get in there, and he was sitting on the side of me. He was like, okay, that's good enough for a rainy day. And I was like, okay, let's move on. So, moving on, the next and the last thing that we had to do, and I was having like flashback trauma, because the first time I did this, the first time I took the test, I hit the curb or whatever, and he had me pull out, and like I told you all, he was like, turn to your right. And we had to go, we basically just made a full circle, and that was the end of the test, and I had failed it. Well, when I pulled out, and he was like, yeah, that's fine for a rainy day. I'm like, oh my God, please don't tell me to make a right. Because I'm like, if he tells me to make a right, I know that means that I failed. And so we pulled out, and he's like, make a left. I was like, yes, yes. I was like, I get to finish the test at least. So we maneuver, and we go down this road, and this is when I do the turnabout. Now, I had practiced the 3-point turn, and those terms might be interchangeable. I don't know. I don't think they're the same. I practiced the 3-point turn, where you go up the road, you get as close to the curb as you can, you turn your wheel like this, you go as far forward as you can, then you reverse a little bit to come back in the lane that you were previously going forward in, then turn your wheel and head down the opposite. That's what I had practiced. He had me pull into this little like driveway, but it wasn't exactly a driveway. He was like, okay, you're gonna do your turnabout here. And I was like, okay. And another thing that he was doing, he was asking me all these questions, and I'm like, sir, I already passed the written test. I don't need to answer. He was like, so what do you do if you're on a hill and it's raining? What do you do to your wheels if you're on a hill and it's raining? I'm like, I don't know. Sir, please, I'm trying to focus. I just want to get this license. So he was asking me all these questions while I'm trying to do these maneuvers. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to fail this test because he's asking me all these questions. So I almost got into a ditch, doing a turnabout, but through the grace of God, I did it. We went forward, pulled right on back into lane 4. He had me put it in park, and he was like, congratulations, you got your license. And I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. Yeah, but it was iffy. And it's crazy too, because I'm like, this man do not know if I can drive on a freeway. He don't know if I can park right. I can't park right. I can't. I mean, I can park, but like me pulling into a spot going forward is fine. But like backing into a spot, because my mother prefers for me to back into a spot so she can just pull out whenever I'm driving her car. That's still a mess. Like, you don't know that okay, just let me out on the road, whatever. But yeah, that was the in-depth story of how I passed my second time. And I just want to give encouragement to all of those who are taking a test, about to take a road test, or those who even have to retake a test. It's okay. Don't feel bad about it. Make sure you practice your skills, and don't panic. That's another thing. The day before I took the test, this was Sunday, like I told you all, they have a specified, like a put aside road thing. Not road thing, but like a road course for the driving test versus I don't know what it's like in other states, but yeah. And I had the genius idea of going up there and practicing between the barricades the day before. Why did I pull up to this DMV on a Sunday? It's like 5 p.m. There is a line to do the parallel parking between the barricades. Lines of cars. Crazy. And there was this one car, it had to be there for an hour, and the person was just turning too sharp, and it was a mess, but I was meant to pass it. So yeah, good luck to all of you all who are taking the test for the first time or either retaking it. I wish you driving genius. All the good luck does to you, and let's get this license. So thank you so much. I know this is a longer video, but if you made it to this point, thank you so much. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe.